Today's episode is brought to you by Better Than BetterHelp. Oh, wait, that might be a typo. Correction. Today's episode is brought to you by the Alchemist Academy, a community dedicated to alchemizing their minds in order to redesign their reality. They're a collective on a mission to change their inner world one thought at a time. Whether you're feeling stuck, unmotivated, in need of some guidance, or just looking to have a friendly back and forth, send them your questions and see how they can be of service to you. In the video description below, you'll find a link to a short and simple questionnaire form where you can submit your questions anonymously. Your best bet is to get it off your chest, so let them know what you have going on and see what comes of it. Better than better. Sorry, no. What's up with that marketing team? They got to get it together, guys. The Alchemist Academy. Alchemize your mind to redesign reality. Disclaimer notes, do not read this part out loud. Whoops, too late for that. The OA is not a licensed therapist or mental health professional. The advice shared here is for insight and inspiration, not a replacement for professional therapy. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and always prioritize your well being. When in doubt, professional support is a powerful step. Now, with that buffoonery out of the way, let's get to today's episode. Thank you. All right, so today's guest, we have Chloe Triple Three, and I wanted to bring her on because she is not only a classmate of ours, but also a new friend. We have started to have some small discussions and getting to know each other, and something interesting happened today where she provided me with an image which sparked my interest, and so I think that maybe we can kind of get to know each other side by side with the community. So, Chloe, welcome.
Hey, thank you. That was a lovely introduction. Yeah, I'm grateful because I'm muddled somewhat in my thinking. Like I have very discombobulated hobbies and interests and passions, and overall, um, it would definitely uh, fall under the umbrella of some sort of teaching. I love to lecture. I love to talk. Right? Like I love sharing information. Like that lights me up. But I've had all of these caveats on how to, which one do I choose? I have so many.
No, cool. Well, I'll tell you this. I guess to get started on a light note, at least you have hobbies and passions, right? Not many people do, myself included. Even, right before joining this community, I would always ask myself, what is it that I even want to do? What am I interested? What is a hobby of mine? Because I just allowed life to kind of really take the parenting thing, the husband thing, the work thing, and I never really
Sure.
gave it time to really find what my hobbies and passions were. I guess let's get started there. So actually, before we get started, I have a
Wait,
question
you know
for you.
what? Before we even get started, I will tell you one of my favorite expressions, which I have absolutely no I'm sure you'll take this and you'll run with it and you'll be using it and you never need to quote me because I didn't create it. But years ago, someone said to me, interesting people have interests.
I'm actually I'm speechless because you know what? It's just like a smack in the face. You are 100% right. Maybe I just wasn't that interesting prior to this.
But that really was like the catalyst for me when I was getting out of my divorce and I was sort of like, had been married for 20 years to in a really bad relationship. And so when I finally did emerge out, I was pretty much like I had amnesia. I didn't know who I was and I needed to figure that out first. And that was when someone said to me, well, what lights you up? And I was like, well, I don't know, maybe this or that or that. And they were like, well, let me tell you something. Interesting people have interests. And if you want to redefine yourself and you need to find your people, having a commonality is a pretty good start. So start there. Like if you're trying to figure out who you are, figure out what actually you find to be interesting. Curiosity is the key to life.
I think that's very beautiful. I just started tapping into several things, and as soon as I started on that journey, more things just came about. It first started with this university where I was like, well, let me just go ahead and just create these videos instead of these accountability tasks. I'll make it into me creating content. And that kind of led to one thing, which was the podcast and several different lanes I'm finding open. And now outside of this, that's so like work related, I'm finding myself interested in several different things. So now that I'm tapped into really finding out who I am and what my interests are, it's like the universe is now bringing me options like, what about this? What about that? So now it's kind of just a moment for me to just take a step, take a breath, and see, okay, let's start exploring this, you know? That's wonderful. Um, yeah.
I truly believe when you are aligned, right? Like you're in flow state. You everything opens up and becomes very easy and opportunities present themselves and you're in a current. You're in a current, you're in a flow state. And that when you're not in that mindset and you find that you're hitting opposition every way you step, you are not aligned and you need to like recalibrate. And that is sort of like the overarching universe telling you you've taken a step off the right path.
How would you, I guess, personally get back on track?
Well, I mean, sometimes, yeah, that's a great question. I think sometimes um I will have to say, if let's say like I was like, I'm gonna podcast and that's what I want to do. And I start coming together and it's just I can't seem to get traction. That's usually an indication that I haven't redefined it enough. It's still too vague. And so I'm not getting anywhere, right? And so I'll have to like sort of be like, okay, well, maybe I need to reach out to more people, or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like bring more collaboration in because I don't have what I need. Sometimes that can be the recalibration, is just um, bringing others into that energy force in order to sort of bring it into the correct direction. And other times I'm just like, no, you know what? That like I have a passion for doing cosplay. I do elaborate makeup and hairstyles and costuming, and it is something that lights me up. But every time someone's like, "Can you do me?" I'm like it's not like I'm happy to help you, but I don't want to paint your face. I really don't want to do that. I don't like. I am happier teaching you how to paint your face. I'm happier teaching you how to create an outfit or sew or do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm happy to help you in that process of creativity, but I don't find any joy in sitting down and just painting somebody else. So those are things that like you have to realize that like you'll realize you can't get your hand to behave. You like they're blinking. They're like all of these things that become obstacles and you're like, "Well, why is it so easy when I do it by myself?" Oh, because I don't really enjoy it.
Interesting. So you rather do it for yourself out of pure joy than to be there kind of like, I guess, on the clock per se, just showing someone how to do it. But you did
Right.
say that you do like to, you would rather show someone
I
something
love
versus do it
teaching
for them.
people, but that teaching someone art is you're holding a paintbrush and I'm holding a paintbrush and I'm showing you how I might do it and we can sort of like I can explain to you like all of the knowledge on like this is how you blend and this is how like that to me is interesting. But for someone to just passively sit there and want me to do it, it's not to me I'm like it's not it's very hard, right? Like they don't
Yeah.
have the same face that I have, and I'm on a weird angle, and it's not.
Yeah. Well, I think more
It's
you're just
sort of
tapping in, you're tapping into yourself where it's something for
right,
you. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the beautiful thing, you know.
or even
And
like every day I go out. Like my priority to myself is I take a walk. Like that's how I start my day before I even have breakfast. Is I get out of my house and I get some sunshine and I take like anywhere between like 60 minutes, 90 minutes. Like I take a good vigorous walk and that starts my day. And people are like, "That's awesome. Can I join you?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Why?" And I said, "Because that's my time. I have so much fun. I like dance. I like lip sync to the trees. I say hi to the deer. Like if somebody was there with me, I would feel observed and then that would sort of like deflate my flow state because with nobody around and me out in nature it's like I'm the happiest I could ever be. So that comes with knowing where your energy is, because when I've tried to go walking with people, when I've tried to do makeup with people, I find like I'm standing in molasses. I no longer have that joy and I'm not that happy about it. Like it becomes drudgery. I don't like having to have small talk and talk to somebody while I'm walking in nature. Like I would much rather tune out and not, right? And just kind of see what I see without having to like keep up with. with small talk. It's brutal.
Yeah, yeah. Once you're in that flow state, the last thing you want to do is kind of lower your frequency in order to pick someone up that may be slacking or maybe not on the same wavelength as you. So I can
Right.
understand that.
Or even you see a challenging hill and you're like, you know what? I'm going to run it right now. Right? Like if somebody was there, maybe they're not up to your speed. Maybe they can't run it. Maybe they would run it faster than you. Like now there's a different equation in a decision that you're making, right? So there are times that I love the collaboration. I do, especially if I'm like teaching something that I know and I like. Doesn't matter if I'm talking about nutrition or I'm talking about alternative history or I'm talking about metaphysics or financial markets. Like if I love having that back and forth. But there are other times, like maybe with art, maybe a musician is the same way, where like they just want to play their music by themselves and that they don't always feel like that collaboration. So
Yeah, no.
that's where I think knowing it's not just knowing your interest, it's how once you find the interest, do you really like the time that you have by yourself doing it and honor that? Like you know what I'm saying? You're not choosing solitude because you don't have anyone to do it with. You're choosing it because that's your happy state.
Yeah, well, also it's brought you a lot more you being in that meditative state because you have several activities which have become a part of your life that can bring you into that state where more information can be downloaded to you. So, I mean, having someone there would go and be, kind of blocking that energy. I kind of feel the same with me riding bicycle. Like I love having my routine of riding my bike in the morning. I record my thoughts, I record journals or do what I do. But I
Right.
can't even imagine someone wanting to ride with me. Like, yeah, cool, maybe one day, but it would really kind of hinder me. Um,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, especially if right, and then that just comes back to like prioritizing your time and your energy, right? Like um, another expression that I picked up along my life that I've sort of held on to for a long time is we live in a prana economy, right? Like it's like the energy that you're sharing is more valuable than paper fiat. So if I was to go out on a mountain walk by myself and feel energized and recharged, that's a good energy exchange as opposed to me humoring someone that wanted to hang out with me and now I'm not happy and I'm sort of going through the motions. Like I'm going to come back drained from that. I'm not going to be energized at all. So I paid quite dearly to accommodate that other person when it was a lot easier just saying no.
Speaking about the hobbies you have,
Yeah,
which I mean, I admire the many hobbies that you have and the passions you have, but if we can, if you were to give advice to someone that came to you and said, how do I even go about that? Like, how do I even find my first one? How can I
sure.
find the time to even, go out and explore passions? What would you tell them?
I would, okay, that's also a good question, and I have an answer for that. You need to, what do you see in your day to day that there's a part of you that has longing? Like the first, okay, so for me, I remember I went to a drum circle. Somebody took me to a full moon drum circle when I was living in Chicago, and I saw like just people playing drums and fire dancers and people with like it was just so amazing. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. I need this in my life. And so I went out and I found someone that taught African drum. And I didn't even want to buy a djembe yet, like a big African drum, because they're like hundreds of dollars. And I didn't know that I wanted to commit to that. But I took lessons. So I went over to to this person's house and I was like, I want to learn how to African drum. I want to learn how to hand drum. I want to do this. And so they're like, great. And so I took like, I don't know, maybe 3 lessons. And that was enough for me to be like, yeah, I'll buy that drum.
Interesting. Well,
And
see
then,
now,
right.
go ahead.
And that's a perfect example of um, like right there is a perfect example of how it all unfolds because I didn't know anyone that was drumming. I felt I would have not been comfortable just going and like, if I didn't even have a musical instrument. But once I sort of took like 1 lesson, 2 lessons, like I didn't study it. right? But I've sort of figured out how to do it. Then, okay, game on. I don't need to know anyone. I can show up in a public event with my lawn chair and my drum and sit down next to other drummers, and I can live my best life drumming. And then eventually, when you keep showing up, they like, hey, you're cool. We remember you last month. And I'm like, what's up? And then we exchange names. And then years later, we're friends. Like, that's kind of the way that interests happen. So whether that is you wish that you could draw, or you always wanted to work pottery on a wheel, or you are a badass and you want to make your own sword, whatever it is, that like something inside of you thinks that that's super cool and that was never something that you considered, find someone who can teach you how to do that. And
Well,
then
I'll say this.
all
Go
of a
ahead.
sudden you are encountering other people that like swords, and now you find yourself in the park jousting with strangers. Like, that's sort of the way that it will happen. So whatever it is, if it's cooking or it's photography, like whatever it is, there is a club, an organization, other people getting together, and you don't need to know them, because the one commonality that you're going to share with these people is that is and they are going to be so welcoming. Like, if it's a bunch of photographers and you show up and you're like, I don't know anything, but I think it's cool to take pictures, they're like, come on, let's show, like, because you now have that interest together.
So let's think about a potential question that's very popular, especially when I speak to people, and it's a very reasonable question, is
Uh-huh.
what if you are in a limited mindset when it comes to finances? So it's like, but I don't have the money to go explore.
Well, okay, in that case, I mean, looking at my first example, right? People say to me, hey, I want to go to drum circle. I don't have a drum. And I was like, do you have a 5 gallon empty water jug? Because you could play that, right? Like, when there is a will, there's a way. And so I think that if you're lacking the resources to take lessons, I get that. But there are usually places, gatherings, um, with everyone in the world that it's somewhat free. Like, I have
Yeah.
not had, I'm part of like model meetups and photography meetups. I do elaborate cosplay, so I'm steampunk, or I'm Renaissance, or I'm dressed up like a fairy with glitter all over my face, and all of those are usually not charged, because I've met people that are like, no, 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 if you're in costume, you're free. Let me show you how to get in the door without paying for that ticket. So there are ways, if you are truly interested, to circumvent a lot and to get in touch with people that will show you how to do it on the cheap.
Yeah, no, I agree. You are a prime example of something that I stick to and I try to provide my wisdom on, and that's acting on your highest excitement, whatever that is, right? Whatever
Right.
sparks your heart just a little bit. Out of two things, there's going to be something that's going to spark your interest more. So just follow that, explore that, and see where that takes you. And it seems like that has really brought a certain kind of magic to your life. Would I be wrong?
I would say that, yes, I really think that it's making the decision that you're going to reinvent yourself is a scary decision, but sometimes it has to be done, especially if you're in a place that you're depressed, you're not happy, um, a relationship has changed, your finances have changed, like something has sort of pushed you out of that comfort zone where you really have to reevaluate where you are and who you are, right? And I think most people should come to that uncomfortable place and pivot, right? Because most people aren't on their path entirely. So when I was really, going through a very turbulent divorce and I was very unhappy, the only thing that kept me sane was just the thought that this new life was my control. And so I deal tarot. So for anyone who, knows a little bit about um, tarot in general, one of the cards is called the Chariot. Right? And it's literally about finally taking the reins and driving your own life. It's literally like you are taking the wheel of your car, but it's called the Chariot. And I felt quite strongly that I was, the phoenix in the ashes. And I had to really look at what made me happy. And I hadn't really looked at that. I had just been that miserable married person blaming their spouse for all of their discontent. And now I didn't have that crutch because it was just me. So I first started with, if I woke up in the morning, what did I want to see? What was right out my window? Where do I want to move? Where do I want to relocate? And then once I sort of came to that happy place, which was in the mountains, that was very important to me. I knew that I needed to be in the mountains, high on a hill. And then once I got myself there, then, okay, how do I socially activate myself? Because I need that interaction with people. And so that came down to interests. And there were a lot of things that I had to really look hard on. Like, I like working out, but I can't stand being in a gym. I don't like people looking at me. And I like having fun when I work out. And you can't do that without looking a bit like there's something wrong with you. Like if you
Hmm.
saw somebody walking on a treadmill, like waving their arms and lip syncing and having fun, you would think that they're sort of like attention mongers, right? But if you're alone in the forest walking, and you can live your best life. So it was really about figuring out where was I happiest, and then not caring if anyone had an opinion on that. Like that's the confidence level, is that I don't care if anyone judges me and says anything. I don't care. Like I always bring it back to I'm living my best life. And if somebody thinks that I'm inappropriate or I curse too much or I this or I that, then great, don't be friends with me. But I'm not going to deviate from the decision that I made that my highest priority is my joy.
Some people may say that you yourself have gotten yourself to a point where now this is just easy, though. Yeah, you're talking from a standpoint of feeling what you feel, knowing what you know, and acting on what you want to act on. But if we can go back to the point of the divorce, right?
Yeah.
So you maybe felt like you were on your knees. So bring me to that point after the fact, and what did you do, if you could remember, what brought
Yeah.
you to
No.
who
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
now?
Um, all right. So the first thing that I would say is um, wherever you are in your life, you have to take 100% accountability that you yourself played a starring role in where you are. And so you stop blaming everything and you sort of say, okay, I allowed this to happen. And if I allowed it to happen, what could I do differently? And so that's the mental shift that, like, you really have to, once, at least for me, once I accepted that I chose a bad partner and I chose to stay in a bad relationship and I chose not to work on myself, I chose to, all of these things, like, it allows a confidence level, which is very similar, I think, to, like, someone was saying to me recently, because I still, like, my bread and butter is I trade for a living. So all of my fun activities that occupy quite a bit of my time and give me a very fulfilling life aren't paying me right now. And someone was like, well, how would I trade? And I was like, the first thing that you have to do is you have to have the confidence to trust your judgment. If you sit around second guessing yourself, you'll never get off the starting block. So that is what I would say, is you have to be able to make decisions and then pivot and go with that. Like, you can't sit around wondering when your life is going to change. You have to say to yourself, that's it, we're changing now. Let's go. And
Yes.
just do it, because if not, that hesitancy of, moderation, or a little bite of the elephant every day, or all of the expressions, like, that didn't work for me, because I was still, 90% standing in the world I didn't want to be in, and maybe only my big toe was dipping forward. So I found that whenever I was nervous, I was awkward on sort of going off the beaten path, I had to remind myself that's where I needed to be. So when it felt awkward or hard or uncomfortable, like all of that, I was like, yes, because you want this. You want this because we already know what staying in the old life felt like and you weren't happy there. So even if you're not happy here, at least it's different. So that was what pushed me um to just show up because it's very hard, especially for a woman. I mean, I don't mean to be like gender biased, but it's hard to walk into a bar by yourself. It's hard to go see a band by yourself. It's hard to go to a drum circle by yourself. Like there's this feeling of like, is it an act of desperation that I am here alone and I am unchaperoned and I am not as a couple and I am right, like all of this headspace. And then you have to think to yourself, no, it's my adventure. I'm choosing to do this because I want to be there. And maybe I'll meet somebody that's interesting. And if I don't, at least I tried. So I would give myself like a 30-minute window of just shut up and go. Walk out your door, go to that thing. And if you're miserable there after 30 minutes, you can leave with full confidence that you tried. And I'm telling you, I never left after 30 minutes.
What was the first discovery about yourself that you made after the divorce, or one of them at
Um,
least?
well, I mean, I think I was pretty beaten down. Um, and I think, I mean, I know that this is going to sound ridiculous, but I think the greatest discovery that I made leaving a 20-year marriage was that I was beautiful and inside and out. Like I was never
Hmm.
given that validation and I was always put down and insulted and all the rest of it. And so it's sort of funny to me that now I'm modeling. You know what I mean? Like, and I look back on photos, even during that, 2-decade span, and my eyes are dead. Like I get it. Like I was just so beaten down that there was no joy in my eyes. It's like it's almost hard. It's hard for me to look at that woman who is younger, right? Because I'm 56 now. It's hard for me to look to that 40-year-old, that 40, whatever. And I just want to hug her and be like, you should leave now. Stop. Don't stay with this man anymore. Like you're just killing time. You're not uh
Taking action.
well, not taking action, but also like the biggest for me, I mean, I can't speak for anyone else but my own experience. The biggest um uh, bit of wisdom that I picked up along the way is that time served doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not good after the first year. The fact that you stayed with this person 10 years doesn't equate to anything noble. There's no loyalty there. Like if it was bad in the first year, you should have said thanks. This isn't for me and moved on. But staying in bad relationships because you feel that there has been enough time and that time holds value was not accurate. I wish that I could have talked some sense into me and said, this person's not right for you. And that
Yeah,
have the confidence to leave, have the confidence that you'll find something better.
yeah. No, I agree. That's beautiful. Um, I'm looking here at the photo that you had sent me, just to kind of give a little background about you and I. So, we
Yeah.
started conversing through direct message, I would say literally a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you had sent me a picture of yourself in a costume. I wasn't aware that you were in a costume, right? I mean, you just kind of sent me the picture when we were in conversation, and it just sparked my interest so much because you
Which
then
one was it? The
so the
steampunk?
first one,
Was I
yeah, the
wearing a
steampunk
top
was the
hat?
first one. You were at the black top hat, yeah.
Yeah, I made that hat too.
Really? I had to take a closer look. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe I,
it's totally badass. Like I didn't make the actual hat. I bought a wool top hat, but I then like tricked it out, right? Like I pimped my ride. So I bought like African porcupine quills and rooster feathers and a bunch of gears and sparks and goggles, and I made the thing like above and beyond, over the top, amazing.
beautiful. That's just amazing. I mean, just to know the artistry that went into it, because it legit. I mean, it looks like you belong in another time period. That's how legit it looks. It's awesome. And so then after that, we started speaking. Was it today we spoke, or was it yesterday
Oh,
that you were gonna
maybe
go to
yesterday.
a? We were speaking about you going to a ferry photo shoot, was it?
Yeah, yeah, it was yes, it was a local shoot where we were told like they sort of give you the theme. of the photo shoot. So I've done like ghastly horror, where I've done like, using like special effects and prosthetics and doing like head wounds and blood dripping, and it's horrifying. And this last one was like lovely, sparkly, glittery, fairy fantasy. And so it was it was fun because I love doing beauty makeup. I do. Like, horror makeup is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'll go for it. But there's something about transforming a face into something that like is just beautiful. I mean, you can use cosmetics in a way that really brings that creative fantasy to life. And so when people ask me, what am I doing? I call it living art, because I really do feel like my face and my body truly are my canvas at that point, and I'm creating something on me that isn't me, right? Like, it's living art, because I'm if I smile, my makeup smiles with me.
I'm looking here at such a beautiful image that they captured of you, where I mean, I don't even know how to describe it really, it's the one where you're looking up towards the sky at an angle, and this is the fairy one we're speaking of.
Yeah.
And just the makeup, your hair, the way
I
that the
did all of
line,
it. Thank you. That's
really,
very kind. That's
I'll
very
post that
kind.
one. I'll do that
I
one. I'll
I
post that one at all of them.
that's very kind. I styled myself. I do my hair, my makeup, and my wardrobe. So all of it was done
Wow.
by me. And yeah, it was it you know what? That's not even like, so okay, so that photo shoot just happened, and the the photographer like leaked those couple ones out as a teaser, but I haven't
Wow.
seen the shoot in its entirety yet. Like, they're still doing whatever they're doing. And there was a natural waterfall, right? Because I live in a mountain in Arkansas, and when it rains, it even like in a heavy rain, it will still be trickling over rocks like a natural waterfall, even like 2 days later. Like, it's just beautiful. And so the shoot was near um, a natural waterfall. And with all of that makeup that you see that I'm in, I was like, I'm going in. And so I literally, like a fairy, like I went into the water, and it was like running down my face and in my mouth, and I was like pretending to drink it. It was so that is the shot that I think, if it came out the way that I think it came out, will be the most magical shot ever.
It's beautiful.
Because yeah, right. And I was like spitting it out, like, because it was like just like, I mean, but to have that like, you've seen it. I mean, if any people are listening, maybe the thumbnail, if you put it up that way.
I
But
got some ideas.
um
Don't give my ideas away.
right, but it was really, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but in my mind's eye it was perfection. So we'll see if they were able to capture what I think I was delivering.
Yeah, no, it's I think well the reason that I even this podcast was so last minute, literally a couple of hours ago we were like, hey, let me get you
Right,
on the podcast, right? But what really just really sparked my interest, I mean, to the max, was just that you have entered into a childlike approach, and many of us don't realize the beauty of becoming that child within us and letting that bring, the joys and the magic within life. You playing this cosplay, it's just you become a character. And I see my son, he does characters, he changes into characters 4 or 5 times a day, and it's
right.
just seeing you do that. I mean, it's just
Well,
it's
I mean,
really
I can say that, um, when you like, there are certain words or phrases that don't resonate. So for me, I've heard, I don't know, for a very long time, like, you need to be a child, like, you need to embrace the childlike qualities, all of it. And I would say, for me, no. Literally, no. I don't feel that way doing it. I don't. I feel like I am a grown woman that just doesn't give a fuck.
hmm
That's not a child. I don't feel like I'm a child when I'm doing it. I rejoice in the fact that I am a sensual woman. I know what I'm doing, and I just don't care.
yeah.
So it's not like there's no like childly innocence about anything that I do. It's very much that I just like, I've become like that wild woman. right? Like I've become the crone. I do not care. Like I don't care if people think it's inappropriate. I don't care. Like none of it. Like it doesn't even factor in. And most of the people that I surround myself with rejoice in the fact that I'm willing to be in a parade in a bikini and I'm dancing. Like I don't care anymore. But it's not that as a child I had this fantasy of doing that. It's that I sort of understand at 56 that my time is short, my body isn't always going to look the way that it does, my face isn't always going to look the way that it does. And so really just carpe diem, like seize the day and do whatever you want to do because the only thing that's not guaranteed is time in this realm.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree that. You know, when I say the childlikeness, I mean it in a way to be the exact opposite of being childish.
Okay,
And
yeah,
the when childish, and you should not be childish, right? But when I say childlike, that's the only word that really comes to mind when I'm creating whatever I'm creating now that I consider my art, is I kind of tap into that same feeling of who cares? Like a kid doesn't care what people think about them, just do you, because everyone else is too busy doing them to even judge you. And if they judge you, that's a mirror for them. So when I do say the word childlike, it's like in the essence of the inner child. Not that you wanted to be a fairy when you were a kid, but you're allowing that freedom within yourself to just express yourself
yes.
in whatever manner you'd like. And that's very
Yeah,
honorable.
I call it a creative flex.
Cool.
So that's actually like my word for it. Like I don't
Okay.
know where I came up with it, but it seems like maybe I made it up. And so when people say to me, oh my God, that's an amazing hat that you made. I'm like, yeah, it's a creative flex. Like it's me understanding that I am an artist at heart. And it doesn't matter that I trade commodities for a living. I am an artist at heart. And whether that artistry comes into how I season my steak or how I decorate a hat or how I put eyeliner on. Like it's all a way of self expression. And that self expression brings me joy. And so it doesn't matter what it is, it's just a creative flex. Like if I can put my spin on it, I'm always happier than if I hadn't.
No,
Like if I can
certainly.
interject my vision, um, and then and it's funny because I just paid somebody to do like I think it was called like a human design chart, if that
Hmm.
sounds right.
Hmm.
Where they sort of like it's like a numerology astrology snapshot of you using like a bunch of different calibrations with your birth date and your time and all the rest of it, but not necessarily tied to the zodiac. And they said, your biggest problem is that you warrant unsolicited advice and you need to be invited. I was like, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
Because
I have,
it's
go ahead.
true. Right. Because that's me. That I always feel like, I can interject my spice and everyone's going to find that tasty. And not everybody does.
Are
So
you a
it was,
manifester? Is that what it said?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I share that in common with you. Allow me
yeah.
to share some wisdom because of many years of heartaches and feeling shunned from me just trying to help. I think that you can agree with me. You probably experience the same things where you want to help someone that may not have necessarily asked for it. And so when you provide them your wisdom, they shun you and now you hate them. Like, all right, well, fuck you. But see, what I've been realizing just recently, tapping into what does that mean to wait for the invitation, is there will be someone that comes along that will need your help, and that person will resonate with your heart, right? But what do we do? Do I just stand around waiting for invitations? But what I've started realizing is that I put myself in a position to create the invitation. And I think that you create many opportunities in your life to create those invitations by you just being you in those cosplays or whatever community you're in. So speak to me a little bit more about that. So you do go out of your way, you do have that urge, that inner urge to help people and teach people.
Well,
What
yeah,
have
but
you?
okay, so I definitely have an opinion on that.
Sure,
Um,
definitely, please.
I I self-censor quite a bit. And it is not because I am concerned about blowback. Like, again, I don't give an
Hmm.
F. Like, I don't care about that. But I also have, not everyone wants to know about genetically modified foods, or not everyone wants to know about why I believe the NFL is rigged. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like if someone is, if I'm talking to somebody, I very much, and I think Waters talks about this too. I try to be interested in what they're saying without interjecting my my take on it, because I know that I'm radical. I am radical in the way that I view the world at this point. And so only if someone approaches me and says something like, "Hey, you're in really good shape for your age. What are you doing, or how are you eating, or how are you living, or always wanted to take drum lessons, or can you show me how to put on that eyeliner?" Then, oh my God, game on, right? Like now you've given me an invitation and I am in my happiest zone, and I'm teaching and lecturing and coming over to your house for hours and bringing all of my things. And I'm like, let's do it, right? Because then it's like my passion is inflamed like tenfold. But I try very hard not to engage that way because people can't handle that. That's a lot of excitement and energy that most people aren't even ready for.
Yeah,
they're
no,
they're
definitely.
not going to, like, they're all like, I mean, I find that uh most people are not they're not interested. They're not interested in changing their life or learning anything new. They're not curious. So if they are, I'm so happy. Right now we've met, but I can't bring someone to a state of curiosity. I can't bring someone to ask the question why. They have to start. And then if they do start, then, game on. I'm so happy to talk to them, meet them, discuss whatever they want to learn about, because I have more knowledge than most people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel the same way in a crowd of people as well. What I found myself doing is actually finding ways to throw a little bait out there, right? Just in random conversation, I'll throw a small one out there, just something about, oh, this and that GMO. And if I see that their ears perk up, then I'll give them just a little bit more. And then I'll just lead them my way. Next thing, they're just wrapped up in what I gotta say, kind of thing. And if they don't bite, then I just know, listen, just hold back. This is not who you want to talk to.
Yeah.
So that has helped me greatly a lot. That has helped me definitely in these things that I'm discovering about myself and my talents that I have. Um, Speaking of talents, you have
Yeah.
many talents, and we were speaking of branding, like branding ourselves and things like
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
What?
that was why I had reached out, is because
Yeah.
there's
Well,
there's a part
yeah.
of me that I just don't, like, I feel that looking at, like, looking within the university and sort of seeing like what would make sense for me. Like I feel like I'm kind of an influencer. Like I feel like that would be like, if I opened up, if I was just talking about whatever, whether it's podcasting or uh probably something that has to be visual, just because of most of the stuff that I do, it requires like an Instagram or a YouTube. Like I would be benefiting by how you see it than discussing it. Right. So a podcast without photos would be lackluster if I'm talking about a photo shoot or something. But yeah, I definitely think that there's just a lot, and I can't figure out if it is just putting it out there and then seeing how it unfolds organically, or really trying to structure it in a way out the gate where I am, shilling affiliate links and trying to, get some revenue as, just putting it in the comment box, like just something.
Well, I'll ask you this. What are you doing here in this school?
Well, like I said, I became, or maybe I did. I think I don't know that I said it on this podcast. So if I didn't, I will. When I first joined up in January, I was so overwhelmed because most of the people that I saw in the university were already a decade deep in having a business plan and having 10 years of experience teaching yoga or whatever. And I was like, there was nothing, there was no commonality for me. So I immediately got overwhelmed and said, no, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what direction I want to go to. So I'm just going to coast and think about that and then reinvigorate myself in April, because I knew that there was going to be a second. I mean, he always said that there was, after that 9-week accelerator, he was bringing in new people. So I just took that time to sort of figure out what I wanted to do with it. And so that's where I am. And that's why I didn't really engage in the beginning, is just because I felt that everybody was so far advanced and that I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, you're an OG alongside us, like you were on that first call, right? I remember you well on that first call, and
Yeah.
what I can gather is that you felt a bit overwhelmed just by the school aspect of it, not so much the community aspect. And that was just kind of like a snowball effect where, okay, well, now you're alone because you can't really do these task assignments, and maybe that just created that snowball effect where you just kind of got lost in the mix.
Yeah, you know
But
what it was? Oh my God, you're totally correct. What it was that notebook. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I was like, what? God damn it. And so like I couldn't figure that out. And I also couldn't figure out how to there was some other techie thing that I was just like, and that was the sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like it
yeah.
wasn't just that everybody was more advanced than me, but I didn't even understand how to take notes in a notebook.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. I mean, I think that maybe you took the class, this university, you took it a bit too serious. And the reason that I say that is because you weren't able to pull back and just do your creator flex on it, right? Because I
Right.
also was not a fan of Notion. I don't want to type this out. I really dislike typing, especially how much I have to say, because I have a lot to say. I don't know if I can convey what I need to in the way that I need to by words. So what I did was I just started doing audios and then creating videos and this and that. And so it just turned out to be something magical that brought out even more magic from me. So I would say that depending on where you are now, I mean, you don't have to go back and do them, but if you'd like to, just to kind of explore yourself, because it has brought great benefit to me just doing whatever the lessons were.
I have already gone back to like lesson one and said I'm just going to start over from the beginning and follow the course as it was intended. So yes, I agree with you that
But try a new
sometimes
spin. Don't even worry about Notion. I mean, at this point, like I said, you've been here for long enough to know that there's no real rules in here. As long as you just
right,
follow the guidelines, we're fine.
right.
But find a way to express yourself because you are here. You have so much to give, Chloe. And I just have to tell you that first impressions last a lifetime. And when we kind of first heard you, it was kind of like, okay, I don't really know where she's going. And now I'm speaking to you now, and it's just I apologize for whatever impression you
What?
had given me, kind of
No,
thing.
don't you can't apologize for that. Whatever impression I gave, I gave. That's all cool. I
Yeah.
mean, we came
But the
together.
reason the
That's
reason that I
the
say the reason that I even bring it up is because you have so much to offer this community, Chloe, that is truly amazing. Just by the photos that you sent me, I asked myself, like, why are you not posting this in photography? Go ahead and do your thing. Like, we all have the freedom to express ourselves in this community. So I think that if you ever feel that the reason that you don't express yourself the way you want to is because you may come off a little crazy, we all do that way. We all feel that way. Just do it and see what comes out of it. Worst case scenario is you find that, okay, let me just find a nice balance. Let me not post every day. Let me post every other day kind of thing. But I think that we will all benefit as a community to see more of you, Chloe. The words that you have spoken in just a few minutes that we've been on this podcast, you brought so much enlightenment to me, so much perspective to me. I just hope that you can provide it to the community.
wow. I mean, that's very kind. And we didn't even go into the fact that like I've lost it. Like
The
I
weight,
gained.
yeah.
Yeah, like I during my divorce, I was very active and I was kickboxing and doing hatha yoga and climbing and hiking and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then I tore my rotator and then also hit menopause, which is a hormonal change for people that don't know what that word means. And I put on like a massive amount of weight through pain and suffering and immobility. Like I tore my supraspinatus, which is like your rotator cuff, and I went to do the diagnostics just to see how bad it was through an MRI. But it was during COVID or C word or whatever we're calling it, if that's a buzzword. But there was no way that I was going to the hospital in Chicago to have surgery. So I didn't opt for that, and I had no idea that it was going to take me 3 years to rehab myself without a surgical correction. Like it took an enormous amount of time. And there is something to be said about pain that mobilizes you in every aspect of your life, not just physical. Like when you're
Yeah.
living in chronic pain, it is depressing and it's just terrible. So, about a year, I guess a year ago, I said, "That's it. Again. I need to. You've been in a you've been in it for a while. You've been swimming in this pity pool for quite a while, and it's time to get out. And so I just made the decision that I was going to uh, change everything again. So it wasn't even about reinventing myself. I had already done that. I was already doing all of the things that I enjoyed, even if I was like hobbling around doing it. And I changed my diet and I started uh, walking and I think I lost 75 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm like in a bikini again. And this is exactly where I was before I injured. Right. So it was really like I'm wearing the same clothes that I was wearing 5 years ago. It wasn't like I was this, very heavy woman that all of a sudden miraculously lost weight. Like I put all this fat on through pain and immobility and then a hormonal change, where I became insulin resistant and all of it. And so I had to, one of the things that's, if we're coming out of the position of a conspiracy, right? Like if you've been diving in rabbit holes or doing any sort of research on your own, I was like, all right, let's take a look at the food pyramid. Let's take a look at what I'm eating and should I even be eating any carbohydrate? Do I need to eat fruit? Do I need to eat vegetables? Like, let me look at all of it. And so I did. I radically changed my diet through my own independent research and finding doctors who I resonated with, who had walked the walk. They themselves had lost their own weight by following their own advice, right? And so, um, yeah, like now I'm like a living testament to mind over matter, and that the only thing that you can change is yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I can hear your passion just speaking of the changes in your physique, really. That's so beautiful. I kind of went through a transformation as well, where others who haven't seen me in a couple of years, they don't even recognize me. So even for you, I mean, I lost close to nowhere to 75 pounds and had to deal with all these, issues or whatnot. But it is truly amazing your transformation. And as I say, once again, I'm going to remind you that this is things that you should share. Just get it off your chest. This is the place to do it. I know that you had previously mentioned about your carnivore diet, which
Yeah.
is cool, definitely. And I would love to hear more about that, of course. But those small little things, they help me, and provide perspective because I may be someone that says, oh, no way to meat kind of thing, but everything has its value. It just depends on your relationship with it. So, I mean,
Well, I
all
mean,
these things.
I was vegetarian for 7 years, and
Mhm.
I avoided eating meat because I felt quite strongly that we lived on a human factory farm, and I was a hypocrite if I was not happy on the way I was being treated, but then I would in turn treat others that same way, right? So that was why I did it. It wasn't that I didn't like the taste of a steak and I became vegetarian. So it was like a moral thing for me. But I got very sick. And one of the reasons I believe why I injured myself and I didn't heal for 3 years is because I wasn't eating collagen. I wasn't eating connective tissue. I wasn't eating the things that my body needed to repair itself. And so when I changed my diet, it really was not for vanity. Like, I mean, that was an underlying play, of course. We all want to look good and feel good. But really, the calibration for me was that I was living in chronic pain. My body was systemically inflamed. It hurt for me to walk. It hurt for me to sit. It hurt for me to move my body in any way. And I saw or orthopedic surgeons because my knees hurts and my shoulder hurt and like it just nobody all of western medicine does what it does is it wants to prescribe a pill and tell you to you know take two and call me in the morning, and I'm anti big pharma. I don't want pain medicine. I don't want to take a pill ever. So I had to figure out a way to get myself out of pain, and the answer was visceral fat. The answer was reducing the fat that was in my body. And how did I do that? By changing my diet because most of the foods that I were eating was causing inflammation, right? So it all sort of became um, the initiative diet and exercise change came from desperation. I didn't qualify for a new knee or a hip, or like I
Right.
had arthritis. I had all of these. I was like literally like an old person. Like if I was going up a flight of stairs, my knees hurt so badly that I would have to like go to one tread and then bring the other foot to meet the ankle, and then I would take another step. Like I couldn't even. And now like I sprint stairs. Like so it really came from me just being you know. And I'll tell you the interesting thing is that what really was like the catalyst that set me off was I was talking about how much I was in pain and I didn't know what to do and blah blah blah, boring, right? And one of my friends said, "Well, why don't you just stop eating?" And I was like, why would, like it did what? That's such a radical thought. Like, what do you mean? And they were like, look, you're incredibly fat and you're clearly eating something that is causing something. And so just why don't you just not eat for 72 hours and see if you feel any better? And if you do, then you know it's something that you're eating. And then you can sort of go on an elimination diet and figure it out from there. And so I did that. And after the first 24 hours, it was like such a metabolic, physical, mental, emotional shift came over me. Like after the 24th hour, my pain went away. My serotonin levels went up. My energy went up. I was, oh my God, this is what happiness feels like. And so clearly it was something that I was consuming, which I wouldn't even have known that if I hadn't stopped eating everything. And after the third day, I was like, this is something. And so when I started going into intermittent fasting, that's when I sort of discovered through, want of connection and someone else's YouTube video that mentioned this doctor that, right? Like I sort of came into um, paleo, which didn't really work, and carnivore, which didn't really work. I did lose some weight, but I didn't really get myself out of pain. And it wasn't until I really eliminated everything except like fermented vegetables and meat that all of my all of my medical conditions went away. Even my gum disease, like I saw my periodontist, that's gum disease guy, a gum doctor, not a dentist, but my gum doctor. And my perio was like, what did you do? What have you done recently? And I was like, what? And he's like, your gums have repaired themselves. You have 50% more tissue in the last 3 months that I saw you than anything I've ever seen. And what are you doing differently? And I was like, yeah, I stopped eating bread. You know what I mean? Like it was like that's what I stopped doing. Like, and they don't tell you to change your diet. They're like, you're not flossing correctly. Like they always want to put blame on you without having you change any of the processed foods that you're eating that's causing your gums, right? So I know through um, having blood tests and doctors having eyes on me for the last year that all of my numbers, my vitals, like the things that a doctor would look at and say, is this person healthy or not, have dramatically improved since I switched my diet. But I also accept there are 4 blood types. Not everything works for everyone, and that you just have to figure out what works for you through trial and error. And it may not be eating meat at all. It might be something else entirely. Like we're all different.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, our dietary choices are always kind of like a tough conversation to have. I for one, I mean, I don't really consume too much meat nowadays. Um, so I would say I'm plant-based and I love a little cheese here and there, maybe an egg or two there, but
Right.
I do wonder if it has a negative effect on my body. Like since I stopped up till now, I guess I would have to run these so-called tests or whatnot to see. Because one of my greatest worries is like being low, being like mineral deficient. So I do supplement. I take my trace minerals and I focus on that. But is there any recommendation you would have? Like, how do you go about making sure that you're getting the essential minerals in your body? Besides the, I guess, the flesh, or is that actually
Well,
the way that you consume? Go ahead.
I do think that, yeah. So, like, a cow has multiple stomachs. So, when it eats the vegetables, it digests them 4 different times and then uses that so that when you eat the flesh of that animal, it is a bioavailable source of everything. You don't always even you may not even necessarily get, like if you ate a plant straight away, because we only have one stomach, so the digestive process is different. I do supplement with magnesium and iodine.
Yeah, okay, cool, likewise. Beautiful. Maybe not the iodine. I should look into it. I've heard definitely the iodine you should be consuming that as
Yeah,
well. But yeah,
it it fuels your pineal and your pituitary, so it's for
cool,
adrenal function. Yeah, yeah. Um, and then I heavily salt. So
cool.
salt is
Yeah.
going to have, and obviously a good quality one, but I heavily salt my food. And then trying to think, what else do I? Oh, and then I do a trace mineral that has like monoatomic gold and
Mm,
iridium and platinum.
okay.
So I take some base metals as well as trace minerals in a
Yeah.
liquid. And the kicker, I should also say, like, so I have a half-gallon mason jar, like a glass jar, and every day I fill it up with filtered water, because I don't have a well and I don't want to drink municipal water, right? For fluoride, for chlorine, for lye, for whatever else is in it. So I filter my water and I drink about 100 ounces of water a day. And in that water, I do salt, and then I throw a pinch of baking soda,
Mm-hmm.
because distilled water is naturally acidic and I would like to try to at least raise the alkalinity. And then I add some trace minerals and the iodine. And then the secret ingredient is I have master ferments. So I take the brine of like pickles and sauerkraut and kimchi and fermented jalapenos and like whatever fermenting thing that I can get. And I take all of that brine. So there's probably at least like 15 varieties. And I put it in another jar in the refrigerator. And then I take 1 or 2 tablespoons of that living brine, that probiotic. Now it's like a multi probiotic, and I take that and I add it into my water as a seasoning.
Why?
So I have living water. I'm giving myself a probiotic. I'm nourishing the my gut, my microbiome. I'm helping the bacteria in my mouth and my larynx and esophagus in order to fight off candida and other harmful bacteria. So that has been the greatest thing that I would, if anyone is listening to this, that you could do, is try to drink pickle juice, or a bunch of, really, of the greatest variety that you can get, because everything that's going to have a different strain of probiotic.
Yeah, I agree. I do my best to stay on top of the sauerkraut. It's just kind of like a morning routine for me at this point. Like, midday, try to get some sauerkraut. It's been a while. Everything just seems to be something that you have to incorporate, and just one more thing I have to do. So I kind of fall off and get back on. But I do my best to take care of my gut microbiome. I think that through the years of learning how to fast, there were many times where I improperly fasted, and I may have caused a little bit of chaos within my gut. So now I'm just kind of bringing out,
Oh yeah,
uh,
there's definitely. I mean, you don't really need to break your fast in some sort of rigorous protocol if you're under 72 hours. If you're over 72 hours, then yes, you do need to break it in. You're not just, you just can't eat a big meal. Like, you have to reintroduce food into your stomach, and gradually work up to, right.
yeah, no,
But
I agree. Isn't it interesting how doing a fast, it's really interesting how slow you have to take it before you actually start the actual fast, like to prep your body. At least when I do, like, let's say like a 2 day dry fast, let's just say. But the
yeah,
hardest part of fasting is breaking it correctly, because the first thing you want to do is just go in, and then you just like, oh my God, what did I do? There's been
no.
several
All right.
times where I
So
fasted and it goes to
okay,
shit.
okay. So I can help on this.
Cool.
One of the things that I do is I make my own bone broth.
Okay.
Right, like right, so whether it's chicken bones or it's chicken feet, which is a really good source of collagen, or I go to my rancher and I just buy, like, marrow bones, and so I make a big pot of it, and then I break that pot down into these huge chunky silicone molds that I freeze. So I turn my bone broth into like enormous ice cubes so that they're manageable. and I can throw that in the freezer. So when it comes time for me to break a fast, I know that I take 2 or 3 beef cubes or chicken cubes, right? That
Hmm.
broth, and I'll heat that up. And so when I break it, I drink that first and I wait an hour, 60 minutes after I drink that. And then I'll take like a tablespoon of kefir, which is like fermented milk, right? Because now I'm introducing, like, I just added some electrolytes in because of the bone broth. Then I'm giving myself a little bit of like lactobacillic acid and maybe some sauerkraut. And then after another 30 minutes, then I will probably consume like 16-ounce porter steak. Like that's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'll prep my engine with some bone broth and a little bit of ferment, and then I will eat copious amounts of meat. I will break my fast and feast. I mean, feast like a 16-ounce steak with 4 eggs, and like I'll feast when I
Nice.
break it. Yeah, because um, and that's a whole nother topic. But I you really have to uh like fast and feast, because if you don't, which is really the way that our ancestors did it. Like they would go days without food, and then when they had to kill, they would all eat high on the hog and be bloated and full. Like that's how it worked. So if you're not eating a lot after you fast, your body's going to think that it's still in starvation mode. Your metabolism will slow down. Your all of your like your body is going to not be happy about it. But if you convince your body that we're all good in the hood, there's no famine, we're totally fine. Look at all this food we're eating. And you can then, so I do like a 72-hour fast, maybe like once a week. And that's
Beautiful.
really, yeah, and that really is how I have tricked my body into losing all the weight without it thinking that it needed to be defensive about it.
So you don't consume any fruit?
I do not. I take vitamin C um, occasionally if I feel like I need it, but I do not. And again, that's a personal thing. Like
Yeah, sure,
I
definitely.
I I I wanted to eat fruit. I wanted to have honey. I wanted to have all of these things in moderation. And every time I did it, my body hurt. And so I just had to let pain be my guide, inflammation be my guide. Like if I had an apple the next day, me getting out of bed, my ankles would hurt before I even put my feet on the ground. So whatever it is, no, I am thriving not doing that, but I can't speak to anyone else at all. I just
No,
know
no.
that I have no pain when I am just eating animal protein or fish, you know, eggs, even cheese is okay. Dairy is okay. But there's something about uh, a big amount of fruit. I mean, I guess I could try it at some point because I do miss berries. Like there are certain things that I really enjoyed eating, but the idea that fruit is such a healthy thing, I don't know. I mean, if you look at historically, all of the food that we eat 200 years ago didn't exist. The carrot, the cucumber, the apple. If you look at the wild varieties, even 200 years ago, they don't look anything like we have frankenfood, whether it's GMO or not. We crossbred selectively for the last 200 years or 300 years to create corn that was very high in sugar because you could turn it into alcohol. And the berries and the grapes were cultivated so that they would be high in sugar so that you could turn it into wine. And even the potatoes, like so all of the stuff, the carrot, the carrot historically 300 years ago was used to as a morning after pill. Its origination was called Queen Anne's lace. That's the base vegetable that the orange carrot or the purple carrot has derived from, and midwives used to give that root to women who wanted to abort. It was that toxic. And so we have cultivated something that it looks beautiful. It's this bright orange, but that is man-made. It doesn't exist in nature. It never did. Same with the apple, same with the banana, all of it. So I think that there's probably something amazing about fruit that I might be missing, but somehow my body um, doesn't do well with fructose,
Yeah,
right? Like it just
I understand.
doesn't do well. Yeah, because I can have galactose, I can have milk sugar, and I still drink tequila, so I'm still having some sort of alcohol sugar.
Yeah.
I
No,
should
I can
state
understand
that.
it.
I should state that for the record. I do drink tequila, so I am a carnivore that eats fermented vegetables and drinks tequila.
I think the fermentation of the vegetables is so outstanding. I mean, you're gonna have to share a little bit more here in the in the community, just how you go about doing that and kind of some
Mhm.
recipes, because I am just all ears on that. I've gone down the fermentation rabbit hole lately where I'm even making sourdough now. Oh, so do you eat bread?
You know what's a great resource?
What's up?
A great resource if you're interested in any of this is the Western Price Society. I don't know if you know who Western Price is, but from the 50s, he really challenged the FDA back then and the USDA and the food pyramid and was talking about the benefits of fermentation and whole grains. And I mean, there's a lot of goodness in what this man was talking about. And so the foundation carried on his works and he has cookbooks and whatever, whatever. But there are chapters that are free. And so if you just went, so I went to the Western Price Foundation's national website and then said, find one near me. And I reached out and they have free fermentation classes. They have free sourdough starting classes where you could meet with people. They gave me a whole like list of local ranchers and farmers that were pasture raised that were selling directly out of their home. So they just became this great resource for very clean food and meeting people that were interested in fermentation and sourdough and sustainable farming and what's the like so I met a lot of people. So that's another thing. Like if you feel trapped and your family's like, you're foolish. Why don't you want ice cream and pizza? It tastes good. And you're like, well, I would like to change my diet. There are places that are free where you could get together with other people that might in your local community, because I feel like the whole point of this reality is to get offline and to meet people in real life, that you could do that. And you could, and so there are meetups, at least here in Arkansas, where they get together at like, some grass fed, grass finished local restaurant, like maybe once every other month. And, people don't know who they are, but everyone can sit down and order their own food and chit chat and come up with stuff. And they do have fermentation classes and they're a good resource. And if it's not the Western Price Society, I'm sure there's something in
Yeah.
everyone's neck of the woods where they could try to meet people that have the resources that they don't know. Because at this point, I don't buy my meat in a supermarket. It doesn't have a barcode. None of it.
Yeah.
My vegetables and my milk and my butter and my beef and all of it, it does not have a barcode. I roll up on ranchers and farmers' houses or I shake their hands at farmers markets and I buy everything local. And I know the name of the farmer that raised the cow. I know how the cow has been raised. I know what the cow ate.
I think that's the most important thing to mention when you do say that you are quote unquote like a carnivore, let's just say, that you do have this relationship with the food that you're eating. It's not an animal that's been, hopefully not been abused its whole life, and so you're not
Oh
taking
my God.
on that energy,
Oh
you know?
no, yeah, dude. No. The places that the places where I buy my food, they're local homesteads. I know the husband and the wife, they're homeschooling their kids. Their kids hug the cow every day. And everyone loves these animals. And they they really just say they have one bad day. They have one bad day. And everyone
Depends
feels
on how you,
bad
yeah,
about it. But
depends on perspective. No, it depends on the perspective. One bad day or a day where I guess full of grace, right? Just give grace to the food, give grace to that animal. Thank you for, being here on this
yes,
earth and, providing me with everything that you're gonna
yes,
provide my body with, really.
yes.
You know,
Yes, I mean, yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I was vegetarian for 7 years because I felt like a hypocrite. And there's a part of me that still feels hypocritical because I love these animals. And when I go and visit my ranchers and my farmers, I also hug the cows. I go out to the pasture and I play with the chickens. Like they have pigs. Like I love these animals and I understand that they are my food, but I also know that I was not healthy. I was, you know what I'm saying? So
No, I'm with
it's
you
a hard
100%.
it's a hard moral choice, and there's no way that I can say it without even hearing the hypocrisy in my sentence with it. But
It
I
works
I
for
I
you though.
I
It works
do
for your
choose,
body.
right. I Yes, I do choose to feel healthy. And yeah, it didn't. It's, you can even hear it in my voice. Like I wish that there was another way. I wish that I could be a breatharian and I could just photosynthesize the sun and be good. I wish that that could be the case because I do love animals and I don't want to eat anything. But the fact that I tried and I was riddled, it took such a toll on me. And the other thing I would say, if anyone is listening and cares, is look at your spices. Because that was another thing that was an eye opener for me, is that there's something called oxalates. And that is like little crystalline shards that the plant will often use as a defense mechanism, like a cactus has, because it doesn't want you to eat it. And
Yeah.
so when you eat, let's say, spinach or almonds, it has these crystalline oxalates in it that um, get lodged in your arterial veins, it gets lodged in your body, and it creates systemic inflammation. And I was eating a lot of Indian food. So there was cumin, there was paprika, there was peppers and all of that. And even I was drinking a lot of green tea and black tea, thinking that that was super healthy, very high in oxalates. And so maybe I am oxalate sensitive and most people aren't. But for me to cut those things out too, like coffee doesn't bother me. But when I drink tea at this point, having been free of the oxalates, my stomach like seizes up. Like I feel like I've got crystal shards coming out of my eyeballs. Like it's called oxalate dumping. It's really interesting. And I think that was also a reason why. So I am optimistic that at some point when my body has really healed and my gut is back, right? Because it's years of abuse and antibiotics and all the rest of it. It's not going to unwind itself anytime soon. But maybe I'll be able to like incorporate some fruit back in my diet or something, right? Things that I do believe has some benefit. And if nothing else, just I like eating it. And if I had to
Uh,
choose between, like, people are like, aren't you tempted? Like when you smell fresh bread or brownies or pizza. And I'm like, no, because I was in pain for so long, years, that there's no, like, it's like there's no possible temptation because I am pain free. Like there's no taste that could possibly persuade me to bring that pain back in.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So that's the way that I look at it, is when people are like, oh, why don't you just have a sweet potato? And I hear, why don't you just want to bring systemic inflammation back? And I'm like, no, I'm good.
Well, no, I think you bring great perspective because of the fact that the those who are, let's just say, plant-based, or from either which side, that shows kind of a favor towards one or the other. There's always kind of like this inner battle, like, oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, or well, you're not looking at this, you're not looking at that. I think that you bring good perspective to let everyone know that really it's just your relationship with it. As you said, you source your products, you know where they're coming from, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. At the end of the day, you're doing what's best for yourself. You're reading your body, you are knowing thyself, and that's really the moral of everything, right? Know how your body works
Well,
and treat it
I mean,
accordingly.
well, I cannot give myself such a moral pass. I do think that it's selfish. I'm killing something. I mean, I was vegetarian for 7 years for moral reasons. And at this point, I just accept the fact that um, until someone can show me a different way. This way works, and so I'm doing it in the best way that I can.
Yeah.
And
And
I
that's all that
also
matters. Yeah, you're living proof of it. You
and
feel
I
great. You
also
sound great.
and I also feel quite good actually that I'm helping the husband and wife and the child that doesn't want to be part of the system, that is homesteading because they want to homeschool and they want clean food, that I give them my money so that they can continue doing what they're doing. So I do feel that there is a symbiotic relationship to the people that I'm sourcing my food from, because I truly like helping them out as much as I like buying their products.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm 100% with you.
And
In
I'm really
regards,
like, I'm really anti barcode. Like I could say to anybody, if it comes in a box or it comes in a shelf or you're buying it, that and that then you don't know what's in it. The food inspectors get bribed. They allow so much impurity and imperfection. You don't know the condition of the animals. It's all like a bad legal argument on what the word. Do you know, like the USDA defines the word organic in 86 pages of legal rhetoric? 86 pages to define the word organic. So you don't think they don't have 17,000 loopholes of, I think right now, at least the last time I read it, which was a couple of years ago, they said that any farmer who wants USDA certification for organic and can't find organic seeds merely needs to notate that for the inspector when they come by. So you're not even planting organic seeds, and or you're spraying glyphosate or atrazine or whatever, doesn't matter, because of another loophole that says that if you've been in a drought, you're allowed to do anything that you can. And California, which is like our largest organic producer, has technically been in a drought for a decade. So it's like, for me, I don't even need to have the word organic. I just need to know that the person that's growing the food or raising the food has their own moral code that aligns with mine, and whatever alphabet agency exists or not doesn't really even factor into that equation. Like
yeah, no, I agree.
if they're telling me that their chickens forage, I believe them.
Yeah, we've been in trouble ever since they introduced organic gummy bears. Right? Think about that, right? What does that even mean now? You got organic gummy bears. Is that what does organic even mean nowadays? But just having that relationship is really what's important, I think, and you're living proof of it. Listen, when you speak, there's a certain light within your tone of voice. You're uplifting me, and so
Oh, that's
whatever.
good. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
I'm very fortunate that I share anyone who wants to hear anything that I have to say. I'm always happy to say it. And I've had in my real life people come up to me that, that have seen me around town, or maybe we're friends on some social media, but I don't really know who they are, but like they're following me, and have come up to me and like given me a hug and told me that they've watched me over the last year and I inspired them to start walking or change their diet or get out and learn a musical instrument or whatever it was. And I didn't do it for them. I really shared my story because I was so proud of myself, right? Like I wasn't doing it to inspire, but enough people have told me that that was the end result, that I now sort of choose what I'm sharing to think, is it something that would motivate someone? And I'll try to phrase it in a way that does. So I don't use social media ever to bitch or vent ever.
do you
Like if it's
have an
not
online presence? Like, do you
me,
provide content? Yeah.
you know what? I I provide very small content, friends only. But I need to have a professional account and go out and go bigger and broader. So I could use help there. Like
Yeah, well,
I
I would say, this is just coming from someone, listen, I don't know anything. I mean, in terms of social media, I was always a tinfoil hat kind of guy. I didn't have a Facebook for a very long time. Long story short, I wasn't very in tune with how to really promote myself on the social airwaves kind of thing. But then
right.
I realized, not only did I not have that skill, but I also didn't really know what I was going to provide. If you know what you're going to provide, just use that as the tool and the stepping stone in order for you to do it, and just start really small. the amount of value that you provided to me in this small amount of time that we have, you have several different things that you can go base off of and just take that route. But I would say that if you have the time and the necessary push, just go ahead and just, BS your way through it. Just kind of pick up your phone, make a little video of whatever you're doing. If you're making bone broth or if you're going on a hike and you're on a train of thought, just do that and post it anywhere. Maybe
Yeah.
TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Um,
Right, right. But the thing is that I know I've been very um protective
yeah.
of my life because I'm a single mom and it was a contentious divorce and I didn't need to be hauled back into court because of some conspiracy theory or whatever. There's
Yeah,
that
I
that
get you.
that's real. But one of the reasons also why I had joined the university is that like I'm an empty nest now. Like I'm pretty much I don't have to worry about any of that. Like my kid is grown. So if I was going to reinvent myself, I already reinvented myself, but if I was really going to be like, like Chloe 3.0, then now's the time to do it. Now's the time to just speak my mind and there's no repercussion that could happen.
What would be one thing, if you can think of right now, top of your head, what would be one thing you would just love to create something about to show people? What would you love to show a person?
There, I've thought about that. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to stand on a soapbox and cry about the Federal Reserve. There's a part of me that wants to um, educate women that how to invest and handle their money because it shouldn't be a male dominated world. Like there should be far more female traders. Women love a sale. Like that, if you just think of like shopping and you're going shopping for Bitcoin, how is that any different? Like I don't understand why it's not targeted more towards single women that or single moms that need to stay home, that find it difficult to pull away at certain times. Like it's the most opportune job ever.
Yeah, but also it's kind of like just the mindset in terms of money, like
Right.
we are living in a state where we are all in like that lack mental state, and so maybe you can tailor it to be woman empowerment, how to tap into the abundance you have kind of thing. If you are able to provide that through your energies and your wisdom, that may be the first step before even introducing, okay, this is what you invest in. Step back a little bit and be like, this is how you actually manifest, what you desire to have. And it first starts with tapping into who you are, what your joys are, or whatever. I'm not telling you how to run your shit, but I
No,
think that
no, 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 no. I no, I mean, one of the expressions that I use quite often is I'm a big girl. I put my pants on one leg at a time. Like no one can influence me. I
Mhm.
make all my own decisions. And if I decide to do something or not do something, buy something or not buy something, date someone or not date someone, I've made that final decision, right? So you don't ever have to apologize to me about anything. If I've asked your opinion, or even if you're giving me your opinion, I'll hear it. Like I'll hear it. I'll hear what you have to say, but no one's gonna but I guess that also comes from being like a cranky old lady. Like I really do feel like when people are like, "Oh my God, I thought you were like 42," and I'm like, "No, I am 56. I feel 56. I do. I rejoice in my age. I feel like I earned my stripes, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so carefree. I don't care. I mean, really, like it's the most liberating thing that I think all women must go through is like you just reach this point somewhere around middle age where you're just like all of it didn't matter, and here I am in the final stretch. What
It kind
does
of
matter?
sounds, it sort of sounds like maybe you are being called to the whole woman empowerment thing. And I mean that in the most literal way. We should all empower these goddesses that we have in this realm, right? So
Yeah,
like,
for sure, but not
you
not feminism. I'm
no,
so
of course not. That's an
radically
agenda all in
against
its
it.
own.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, yeah, of
so
course.
like
Like,
right like
but
the
but you
one
you
of the
are a powerful woman though, right? You
yes,
have a lot to show to be a woman. You're a woman trader who makes a living off of it and goes and does this and the other.
yes,
Maybe you could
yes,
tap into how you can provide that from the perspective of a woman coming out of the divorce, losing all this weight, being called ugly or whatnot. How
yeah.
did you transmute into the person you are today? Maybe that can be how you can start tapping into who you're going to brand yourself to be. Maybe that that consoling voice, that powerful voice for the women. You know, in our community, we
Right.
have several women that are just kind of they're really just showing and shining, and they have the same goal where it's like it's not a feminist movement. It's we need to stick together as women because we are here for our own purposes, you know? So I think that maybe you could tap into something like that, maybe, but you are a powerhouse and you can hold conversation with me and I can listen. So it doesn't just have to be a woman movement, you know? I can tag along and listen and get some wisdom from that too. I could tap into that as well.
Yeah,
But
I
if you
don't.
can, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I mean, I don't look at it. I don't look at it like it's um a woman thing per se. I
No, but
just
just
think
speak to
that,
them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I just think that, like, one of the things that I learned somewhere along the way is that um, if we accept that water holds memory, if we accept that we can shout at a snowflake and change its crystalline fractals, right? Like, if we accept some weird science things, then when you look in the mirror and you tell yourself that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're fat, you're ugly, your body is listening. Your body is listening. And so, one of the things that I do every day is I stand butt naked in front of the mirror, head to toe, and I tell myself that I'm ravishing, that I am the most beautiful creature in the world, and I accept every part of my body as being beautiful. And everything that I eat is only helping to increase my beauty. Like I reinforce that every day. And I also look myself in the mirror often during the course of the day, and I tell myself that I love myself and that I'm doing a good job and I am proud of myself and to keep up the good work, because I find that the only cheerleading that I need now, it comes from me. I don't need someone to say that. I'm not craving that adoration. I'm not needing that affirmation, because I can give it to myself and it means more because I'm giving it to me. So I don't need anyone telling me that I'm doing a good job. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need that from the guy that I'm sleeping with. I don't need that from my best friend, because I'm getting it from me.
Yeah. You know, also I honor that and I do resonate a lot with that because I am happy with who I have become and who I am continually becoming, right? I do mirror therapy and I love looking myself in the mirror. I didn't always, you know, I used to hate the person in the mirror until I convinced myself that I was greatness within, you know, as we all should do. But although you're saying you don't need the recognition or whatnot from others, I think that once you start sharing your art, it's just gonna come as a byproduct, not something you're looking for, but you are just expressing yourself in whatever form, like let's say through the social media platform. And although you're not looking to get any kind of accolade back, when you do get it, it's a certain feeling of like I'm allowing others to tap into my greatness just by me being myself. That's not your main goal. Your goal is just to share who you are. You sharing who you are, as I continue to say, even through this podcast, just you being authentically yourself, you're shining light upon the world. So don't hold that light back from the world because you're holding it back from God. You know, so if you do have something that's on your mind, that you have an idea, we are now in a community where it is your duty now to try it on us. Put out a video, even if you don't post it to a main channel, you post it to us. And just to do it, even if you don't get any reactions, just do it to get in the flow state of just doing it. And you just know that you're now just stepping foot into who your brand is. Does that make sense?
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Make, you know, hopefully you take that advice. You know, I would love to see you be more active just because you are a powerhouse woman. You know, how has it been this long that I don't even know who you are? You know, that's crazy.
Because really, like, um I'm still living that best life. Like, so it's like I have to pull myself away, but I think that I really would like to have an online presence at this point. Like, I do feel called to it. And so that was why I joined the university, is because I knew that I was going to be around a collective that would push me to create the account and start like, right, like I needed that accountability. And so I'm really, I've got, yeah, like I really have to um do more. So yeah, I can start posting videos
What are
and
you
really
gonna do today?
engaging.
So we finished the podcast, we go about our day. What's your plans for the rest of the day? Tell me something that you're gonna get into.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I mentioned that I also competitively play pickleball like 3 times a
No, you
week. So
didn't.
I'm gonna
Cool.
so I'm gonna go. The thing that's super cool about if people don't know what pickleball is, it's like a hybrid of tennis and
Hmm.
racquetball and ping pong, and it's played on a court with a net. And it almost lends me back to the days when I was very young, because I was an athlete. I was a bit of a jock, and you could just swing by the schoolyard, and if people knew you could play, they were happy to even see you walking near the field, and you were immediately asked to join. And so there was always like that immediate acceptance and inclusion because you could play, like they knew that you were a good player. Oh, awesome, she's here, right? So it's very similar. Like I haven't had that younger pickup game in quite a while, but the way that the pickleball courts are stationed is that it's just open play. It's free play. So I just jam by and people know that I'm good, so I'll be asked to be their fourth.
Damn. Wow.
Right. And so for me, it's also like, and I'm a very good sport and I can play. So I'm usually chosen because yeah, like I'll get the winning point, but I'm also not a dick about it. Like so it it again it has to do with like athletic prowess plus personality because nobody wants to play with someone that's disagreeable.
Yeah. No, I agree. No pun
Right.
intended.
Right, for sure. Right, yeah, exactly. There's always subterfuge. You could always turn it. But
You
yeah,
know,
so I do that. So I do that a couple of times a week, and I play probably like maybe like an hour or two, and I love it. It's just fun, and it's also like a different family of people that aren't my people. Like they're not my tribe. Like you guys in here are my tribe. They're not my tribe, but they're good people and they like to play. And so I'm happy to play with them and we don't have to talk about anything. And I never want to know their political affiliations. I never want to know what they're having for lunch. Right. But we can all meet up and really have a great game that's high intense and laugh about it. There's tons of laughter on the court. Everyone's playing as hard as they can, but we're not playing for money. We don't care. So it's like bragging rights, like shit talking rights, but still laughter. It's not like that level where it's icky.
yeah, I agree. I can understand that 100%.
Yes.
I'll ask you this again with a clear mind for a second. Do you see yourself like on a higher timeline, different timeline? Do you see yourself being somewhat of a social media content creator?
100% yes.
Okay, see? Okay, so now with that being said, this is my recommendation for you, right? Of course, you don't have to take it, but I say that on your route to play pickleball, just turn on your recorder. It doesn't have to be anything serious because all you're doing is you're pivoting your foot in a direction that you don't even know where it's going to take you, but you're just doing it because your heart's like, why not, right? Turn on your
Well, no, I
recorder.
think the first thing that I have to do is I have to create I don't want a personal Instagram account or a personal Facebook account. I don't want to link my personal life if I'm really going to be going online. It's sort of like why Waters doesn't put his face on. I get that. And I don't mind putting my face out, but I also don't think I need my real name, right? Or even if it was like my name, but it could be like a channel instead of like just me. So I need to create that. And then once I have that, I can actively start posting because I already am on social media. I'm already on all of those platforms. I know how they operate. I just don't want to start this process as me. I would like to start it in a professional mode and
Cool. I'm with you.
not have because a lot of the stuff that I have might be like anti-vax or conspiracy. I don't want any of that. I want a clean slate and just to be talking about this and my a lot of my opinions are nobody's business. And I would keep that close to my chest unless we are friends.
Cool. I honor that as well, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Now, hear me out on this though. So,
Yes.
you're going to record your voice or record a video, whatever you feel called to do at that moment, either record or the video. on your route there or when you're approaching the pickleball or whatnot, when you have a
Hmm.
moment to just just let off the mind, right? You're gonna
Right.
record yourself. You're gonna record whatever comes to mind at that moment. Hey, just letting you guys know, whatever, I'm headed to the pickleball, and just let it flow. This is why I'm going. This is what I'm doing. This is what I have in mind, or whatever. Whatever comes to mind, you're gonna record that and you're gonna capture that. You're going to capture that because now you have entered into the timeline where you are a content creator. That's a fact. Right there, you created the fact and the reality that you are creating content that's going to go on
I
a
do
platform.
that. I do that now as me. Like I'll go out on I'll go out, like I'll make videos of me out walking in the mountain and I'm just like, "Hey, it's a beautiful day. You should get off your couch, turn off the TV, get some vitamin D. You've got, energy on tap." Like I'm already doing that, but I'm just doing that for like a very small community. So I'm comfortable filming myself and talking already.
So
I
what I
just
would say
need to
with that,
create, yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that's it. I just need to create that
So with
that's been my my procrastination, as I just don't have the account created yet to start posting on. So that's like my job number one.
So yeah, so that was my intention really. It's just that okay, so you have already tapped into that part of your heart that tells you resonate with this whole, capturing the moment kind of thing, and you share with
Right,
a small group of people. So you're already somewhat on that wavelength. So
right.
don't create any kind of mountain for yourself because it will literally take you 7 to 10 minutes to create a new account. Now, if first thing that comes to your mind, what is your preferred social media account, platform?
Well, I feel like I I want to be on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. Now, how long form are you? For example, like for me, YouTube is where I need to be because I need a longer attention span audience. Do you feel the same way and that's why you resonate towards the YouTube and the Facebook?
I resonate towards the YouTube because I think if I did want to do like how to do a beautiful, smoky eye over 50, someone who was looking for that would find me on YouTube. So if I did want to do some of the costuming or some of the makeup to target people that or women who are over 50, they would only find me on YouTube because of a search feature. Like I would not be found on Instagram or TikTok. So
But you
that
have
is
a great
why,
lead generator there also, right? A beautiful lead generator because your YouTube can have different playlists within it, right? So you can
right.
have your playlist of your
Yes.
makeup and somehow now you're capturing the audience and the ears of people who resonate you on the makeup portion and then they just, oh, look what she has here. Wow, she's talking about this red pill stuff. But I
Right.
think that the first things first, just like you said, you already know it. So maybe you just needed to hear from someone else. I think that your goal, once we wrap this up, is to just create a whole new Gmail, a whole new Google account, right? So that
Yes.
way you can
Yes.
have a new Gmail, a new this and a that, and you connect that
Yes.
all to that.
Right.
So
Right.
I think that you're so creative and you're gonna allow that creator flex to come out of you that you're gonna create your name immediately. The
Oh,
first thing you're gonna think about,
you're
right?
so awesome. I mean,
Thank
can
you.
you live in my head rent free? You are you're very encouraging.
So
I needed this, which is why I reached out, which is why I said like I knew that I needed you specifically to push me out of my comfort zone because I thrive outside of my comfort zone. Like that's also something that everyone needs to figure out where they do the best. Like, have you ever heard the expression that the same water that boils the egg will soften the potato? And it really has to do with
shit.
how,
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
right? Like, it's the same water. So, so if you if you do well outside of your comfort zone, sometimes you need to find people to push you there because you needed to be out of your comfort zone. And then other times people who get out of their comfort zone are so unhappy that they become paralyzed, and that's not good. You weren't doing them any favors by pushing them.
I
I
agree. Yeah.
thrive outside of my comfort zone. Like I need someone to kick me in my ass and say, "You go do this because you can." And I'm like, "God damn it, you're right." Like it fires me up instead of now I'm standing there on the edge of the like, the plane and the hatch is open, my parachute's on, and I'm like freaking out. I would be like, just go for it. Like I would jump. Like I just, but I need that I do get procrastination where I'm just
Well,
like, I'll do it tomorrow. And
here's
then
the
that
thing.
that becomes a year later.
Yeah, but that's all of us though also as well, right? We can get Medusa at any point in time. We're like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow, and then it turns into next year, right? So this is what needs to happen. Once we finish speaking at this very moment, there's going to be a time where the adrenaline is going to wear off. So you have to capture the energy that has been cultivated at this moment. So literally,
Yeah.
when I tell you, if you have nothing else important that you have to get to when we get off the line, you have to go on Google, and go ahead and make a new account. It doesn't even matter the name that you choose. I mean, it could be triple CC, triple three C. It doesn't even matter.
Right,
Create a
right, right,
beautiful
right.
name that comes to you. What matters is that you're creating the actual channel itself, the actual YouTube. And even if you don't do anything with it until next week, you already have
I
the
think
hardest part out of the way. You already have
I
all the
think
content.
the thing that has thrown me off, quite honestly, is I just don't know what to name the channel. Like, and every time when it wants the name, I'm like, I don't know. And then so that has really been the thing. So maybe, what I need to do is just sit down with a piece of paper and set a timer and brainstorm for 30 minutes. It'll come to me. But like when I like tippity tap on my typewriter for like, okay, YouTube, yes, it's a new channel. What is the name of your channel? I'm like, like I don't know. So I have to, that has been what held me up. Is it's not, I do know how to create the new thing. I just don't know what I'm naming it.
Well, I'll tell you what then. So you can't let that be your hiccup because one thing is, okay, the Gmail thing, right? You
No,
can't change that
the
name. That's
Gmail,
permanent.
the Gmail account won't matter. That's just for
Okay,
password
perfect.
recovery.
No, so it's all good then. So check this out. When you create a YouTube, all you need is a Gmail to link it to or whatever email to link it to. You
Right.
don't really care about that, so you're good there. When you create the YouTube, you can always change the name. I changed my name on the YouTube itself,
Oh,
right?
so
It
I
doesn't.
already have a YouTube account. And so I could just change the name.
You can change the name. That's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, I went about it the wrong way. I mixed personal with business because I was in the motion of just doing things. My
Right.
my my YouTube, it was my personal one. So now I turned my business one into my personal one. But you
Right.
can change the name on it, and I think
Okay.
you can change it several times in a day,
Yeah,
kind
and
of
then
thing.
I figure, right, and then I would, all right, so maybe that's my, this is your homework,
You
is
don't
that
have a choice because if I talk to you again tomorrow, you tell me you don't have a YouTube, we're gonna be in trouble. So just go
exactly.
do the
So
YouTube, right? And
I'll
then
I
post any video you want. You have so much content. It's just waiting to be put online.
okay.
Cool.
And then also probably I already have a Facebook account, so I can open up a professional one.
I wouldn't get too much into just focus on YouTube for now. The reason that I would say not to focus on Facebook is for one, I'm not the best person to speak to you about that because I've never even made a post
And then
on
also
Facebook.
right, because you can just put shorts up on YouTube. It doesn't even have to be like a
Correct.
full. All
Well,
right. So
yeah, and I'm working on that too. Like once again, I mean, one day I will be that resource to speak about the ins and outs of the shorts versus the
yeah,
long
I
form
don't know any
videos.
of it
Right,
either. Yeah.
right now, my game plan, and which I think that you can follow as well, is I'm just making long form content as of right now, just to kind of get in the flow of just being in the exercises, just submitting and creating and all that stuff. And then
Right.
once you resonate, like for example, there may be a time in the conversation you and I had throughout this podcast where I'm like, wow, that's gold. Let me snip that and just make a short out of it. That way, that's gonna be like your lead generator for people to check out your content or whatnot. So it could be like that. You just go on a rant, go in that flow state of your mind when you're whatever you're creating, and then
Right.
when you're
And
like
then
editing
snip
it,
it.
which is look, this is gonna be the next hiccup, and this is gonna happen. This is the next speed bump in the creator mind. Is now you gotta worry about the time you need to take to edit it and make it sound good, and then maybe if you want subtitles is a whole nother issue. But just
Yeah,
allow
but
that to come.
yeah, that's like Scarlett O'Hara. Like, I'm gonna think about that another day.
You know what? That's exactly right now. The only thing you should worry about is creating the YouTube and at least posting your first one. And
Yeah.
before you even post it on, or how about this? Look, the new channels have opened up into the Discord. As soon as you post on YouTube,
Yes.
bam, put it on
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
So either way, as I said, I'm gonna be on your ass if you don't if you don't
No,
do it.
no,
So
I love
get
it.
to
I
it.
love it. I'm actually like, I'm grateful if you really do try to keep me accountable. I really would
Cool.
be appreciative.
Yeah, well, you're amazing, so it would be an honor to make sure that you keep just sharing whatever you have, whether it's through the Discord, now that you have another outlet, which is now the YouTube, whatever, you don't have to on the Discord, but I think that many of us would like to get to know you. And those
Yeah,
that
no,
follow me, they're going to get to know you through this podcast and they're going to ask, more about you. So, do what you can.
yeah, no, I agree. I've been selfish on not really participating in the Discord. But I just a matter of like I don't really I don't like it's just not one of the social media stuff that I really lurk on. So it's
Then
like I
don't,
have
then
to.
don't even worry about it then. Don't even worry about that. Honestly, the
No,
Discord is
no, no,
more of a
no. I mean,
community.
no, but the whole reason why I wanted to join the university was literally to meet like-minded people. So I really am cutting off my nose to spite my face by not being in the Discord channel. So I really need to do that because that was the point. That was the
Yeah.
point of joining the university is that I really wanted to collaborate with like-minded people who were also business oriented.
We all kind of want a fresh start. Let's just say because you kind of felt like you fell behind and maybe you whatever happened, whatever
Yeah,
emotions you have towards the Discord, literally reintroduce yourself. You know how admirable that's going to be because you're not the only one that felt like this or feels like this or has done what
right.
you've done where you've kind of swayed away from the Discord for whatever reasons. But if you
Yeah,
can just show yourself authentically, like, hey, I disappeared for a while, I got lost in the mix, but I found myself. Just imagine how much inspiration you're going to provide to those other people who were like, they felt the same way. And now they're like, hey, I'm going to join back in a little bit, You just
yeah,
never
yeah,
know. Just continue to be your authentic self because you speak light into this world. I promise you that, So just continue doing
that's
that as
so
much as you
sweet.
can. And we'll leave it at that. We have no
Yeah,
time to
I was
waste.
gonna
Go create
say
that YouTube channel.
you've given me good feedback
Cool.
and good advice, and I will. I almost like I want to go and I want to jump on YouTube and change my channel name.
Do
So
it now. There's no really no
exactly.
reason for you not to do it. We're ending this either way. We're
No,
gonna touch base.
for real. I know.
Cool.
Let's just say like love, light, and I will circle back. I will
All right. No,
circle back.
definitely. Either way, just hit me up on DM and we'll chat either way. Let me know what's going on. If you have any troubleshoot issues, let me know. Because remember, I've been where you're at right now at this
Yeah,
stage. So if I can
awesome.
help you, I'm gonna help you. So we'll leave it there. Chloe,
All
thank you
right.
very much. I know this was super last minute and just off the cuff, but I thank you very much for your time today. And we're gonna stay in contact. We'll
Thank
see
you
what comes of this, okay?
for honoring me with a podcast number 7. I am honored.
You're definitely cool. Well, I'm glad that we got this on record. This is truly magical, and we'll follow up. We'll touch
Exactly.
base.
You got it. All right. Bye.
Cool. All right, bye.